but a lot of people ask, how do we get our name? And it has to do with a Bible story where there was a group of people who had been made slaves. We talk a lot about racism today. This was racism. The Jews were made slaves by the Egyptians, and they were slaves for 400 years. And then God raised up a leader. The Bible says that God heard their cries because everything was unjust and unfair for them. And so God heard their cries and raised up a leader whose name was Moses. And he helped, well, with God's help, he led them out of their slavery. Like totally took all the slaves out of Egypt. And God said, I'm going to show you a place you're going to go. You don't know how to get there. You don't know where it is. You don't know what it looks like. You don't know the name of it. But I promise you that I'm going to show you how to get there. Have any of you ever heard this story? Yeah. Just a few of you. Okay. So what happened is they left Egypt and they go, okay, where do we go? And so Moses goes, okay, God, where do we go? So he just starts walking, you know, with 1 million people behind him. And he starts leading them. He goes, okay, guys, this way. And they start walking. And I'm sure he was going, okay, God, you better tell me right now, where's the next step? And he kept walking and kept walking. And they had lots of bad things happen along the way, but God was always with them. And then God did this amazing thing, which was a miraculous thing. And some of you maybe don't believe in miracles. Some of you maybe never experienced a miracle. But miracles are awesome because they give us a sense that the things that we believe in, you know, especially related to God, that it's true. Because sometimes you just go, you know, I just choose to believe this, and, you know, who knows if it's just made up or whatever. But when a miracle happens, then you can go, now I believe, and nobody could change my mind. So what happened is God said, okay, Moses, I know you're trying to follow me, and you got 1 million people, and sometimes they get in a bad mood and they complain and they don't know if you're really connected to me. Like maybe you're just leading them out into the desert to die, and, you know, they're giving you a hard time, so I'm going to do something amazing. And so he made a giant cloud, like, you know, the kind we see when there's a fire over in Santa Clarita, and we all see that smoke up in the sky, and we go, oh, there's a fire. So he made a cloud, great big cloud up in the sky, and then at nighttime, the cloud turned into what? Fire. It turned into fire. It gave them warmth, and it gave them light, because they were out in the middle of the desert, like camping in the desert with no lights, no flashlights, just fire. So that it was always there as a reminder. So by day it was a cloud, by night it was fire. And the Bible says that whenever they were supposed to move, when God wanted to lead them, that cloud would move. Like they'd wake up in the morning and they would look, you know, where was that fire last night? And all of a sudden it had moved. And that was a symbol for them to move, to pack up all their tents, pack up all their stuff, get the, you know, goats going and move. And so for 40 years, they went through the desert kind of on a scavenger hunt for their new land that God said he was going to give to them. And they followed the cloud and they followed the fire every day to see where God wanted them to go. So that's how we got our name, Cloud and Fire. But still, you're probably going, well, why did we get our name anyway? Like, that doesn't make sense. And the reason that we got it is, I think everybody in here knows that I'm the founder of Cloud and Fire. So I could name it whatever I wanted. You know, it was just me and a few friends, my husband, and we just said, you know what, we're going to start something for the young people in this community. And honestly, we're kind of going, what are we doing? Like, we don't know what we're doing. Okay, I'm a teacher, and I want to start like an after-school club, and I'd like to help young people, and maybe tell them about God, and I don't know. And I was kind of like Moses going, I don't know how to do this. And so I felt actually like God was saying, okay, I want you just to take a step and try something. And you don't have to know all the answers right now. You don't have to figure this out. If you'll just have faith in me and take a step, I'm going to show you how to do this while you're already moving. So I took a step, and I started a little after-school club in North Hills, right near Sepulveda Middle School where I was teaching. And then I took another step, and I started working with kids that were locked up and, learned all about that. And then I took another step, and we turned our 1-day-a-week club into a 5-day-a-week club, and then took another step, and I thought, what if, wait, God, is that you? And it was like the cloud moved, right? And I said, okay, what if we started oh God, could that be you? What if we started a school? And I said, you know what, let's just, oh God, if this is you, then I need a miracle. So we got a miracle. Like somebody said, you know what, I'm going to help you with that. And then we put an ad in Craigslist. And I said, God, if this is what you want us to do, then help us find a really great teacher. And so this lady named Shakay, what kind of name is that? Like I'm like, what? Does she even speak English? I don't know who she is. She shows up on our doorstep, and I said, okay, I want you to give me a pretend lesson, and she did it. It was really good. And I was like, do you want a job here? Like, this is a school. And she goes, well, what is your curriculum? What is your format? What sort of technique do you use? I'm like, I don't know. We're making this up, right? God, we're making this up. So now Shakay is like, she's packing up her tent, and we're taking another step through the desert, right? And then we just kept taking steps. And then, this youth pastor comes in, and we had a school with like 20 people on a good day. It was just Shakay and me and 20 boys that would show up a few times a week, right? And then this youth pastor, he had this kid that was like in trouble, and I don't know, he heard about us through some like arts workshop that we had. So this youth pastor brings this boy, like he's practically holding onto his ear, go, you're going to go to this school. And the boy goes, okay. And that youth pastor's name was Carlos Gomez. And so I'm like, yeah, I kind of like that guy. I think he'd be good if we ever had more than 20 students, And so I had my eye on him for a couple of years. Remember that? And he brought this student. And I'm like, hey, come here and talk to me. Tell me your life story. What's going on with you? Tell me what you're doing. What's your goal? What's your dream? He wasn't even a teacher yet. Remember that? You were still getting your credential. Oh, and here we are all these years later, and you're still getting your credential. What's up with that? So that's how, inside joke there, right? Okay, but that's how, look guys, that's how our story got started. That's how our story got started. We just took a step. All I knew is that God put a love in my heart for young people. And that I felt, I'm just going to be straight up with you. I think the neighborhood around here has gotten a lot better in the last 20 years. But 20 years ago, when I was still teaching at Sepulveda Middle School, it was not so great. And I just knew that we had to do something. We had to do something more, and all I could do is take a step and a step and a step. And then we had a gal working for us, and she had a neighbor in her apartment who was like some lady who really loved God, and she used to be a teacher, but now she's just a stay-at-home mom. Not just, but she was a stay-at-home mom. And she wanted to volunteer, so we brought in this was like our first Asian volunteer, and her name was Miss Christine. And remember that? And she's like coming in a few days a week, and I'm thinking, she's not going to last around here because like she's too fancy for us, you know. And boy, you're here, you still are, right? And then we had another volunteer, and his name was Mr. Dave. I mean, people just started showing up. And you go, okay, God, here we go. We're taking another step, right? We took another step. We used to be over in North Hills. If you saw, in fact, someday we'll take a field trip, and we'll show you where we first started. It was pretty small. Like, you know where Betsy sits? In that little area? Our whole school was smaller than that. And so then we got this space over here, and Shakay said, you know what, it's too big. We'll never fill it up. Huh? That's right, huh? Yeah, because when God asks you to take another step, you just take a step and you go, I don't know why we're doing this, because like last week we had 21 students, and now we think we need a new space. So we came here and it filled up. And so the reason we're called Cloud and Fire is because maybe like some of you, honestly, I was at a place in my life, I didn't even know what I was doing. I'll tell you my other story some other time, but I had like a whole other life that just kind of fell apart. It just quit working. I had to start over. And when you start over, you get to say, what am I going to do now? And for me, I have never had that many great ideas on my own. But I have great ideas when I talk to God, because they're God's ideas, and God tells me those ideas, and he goes, I've got an idea for you. And then I go, that's a good idea, you know, and it turns out to be a good idea. This was a good idea. I wish I had thought of it. But what happens in life, and the reason I wanted to share this with you is, one, so you know our history. Because people always say, why is it called Cloud and Fire? I know, we get all kinds of funny versions of that. Earth, Wind, and Fire, Fire and Ice. I mean, all kinds of stuff. You know, cloud in the sky. I get cloud and campfire. I don't, you know, people can't keep it straight. But I want you to know it's because God leads us by his presence, by his wisdom, by his words. And there's nothing better that you could ever get from Cloud and Fire, from being here at the school, or from life, or wherever you're going to go, than to know that if you're at a place in your life where life is not working, or you don't know what's ahead, you don't know what your future looks like, but you want it to work, I'm telling you, God will lead you. God will guide you. God will give you one step. You don't have to know the whole plan. All you have to know is, what step am I taking today? And the rest is going to come. It'll come into focus if you just take the best step today that you can take. And if every single day this year, this whole school year, from now until June 30, if every day you wake up and you say, God, what is the best step I could take today? And if you're somebody that you don't even believe in God, you don't want to do that, then just at least try this. Self, I'm talking to you. What is the best step I can think of to take today? And take that step. And, you know, if you do the God part, your steps have more chance, you know, to be the right steps. Because when God is in something, he makes it work. And so I just wanted you to know that even though we don't have a big old cloud in the sky or a fire by night to guide us, there's good things ahead. And God is there. If we want his guidance, he'll give it to us. And now you know the history. We are an organization that believes in God leading us and God appointing us to do something. And here we all are. By faith, we're all here doing this together. So I hope that God blesses you this year and shows you a new way to make your life work.